Hi everyone, I'm Jen Rains. I'm the Teen Associate at the Charles West Branch of the Kansas City Public Library, and here for Make It Mondays, I'm making super simple Oreo truffles. I have our Oreos that I've already pre-crushed. I used a food processor, but you can use a rolling pin or a frying pan, whatever you have handy. I also have some cream cheese here, and we're going to mix those two together. I'm going to go ahead and start right now. And the Oreos that I'm using today are mint. I thought that that would make a really good holiday flavor, but you can use any flavor of Oreo that you want. There's like a million. So feel free to get really creative with these. And you're going to want to make sure that your cream cheese is nice and soft, because otherwise it's a really big pain to mix it in, kind of like it is right now. So I'm going to take a moment to mix this up and I'll get right back to you. And we're back. I've been stirring for a hot minute now and everything looks pretty mixed up. What you're wanting a consistency of is kind of like Play-Doh, because you're going to be molding it with your hands into small round truffles. So you want to be able to mold it. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my cookie tray with parchment paper or wax paper, whichever you have, both is fine, because these are going to go in the freezer and you don't want them to stick to your tray. You're going to want to wear gloves for this, just because they're real sticky and they'll get all over your hands and make a huge mess. Plus it helps with the no bare hand contact with ready to eat food thing for all your guests. I'm just going to use my hands and kind of eyeball it. You'll get some that are different size, but that's okay because we're being creative. And you're just going to want to take it in your hands and form it into a round ball, kind of like this. And once it's nice and round, you're just gonna hook it right on your cookie tray. And like I said, these can be different sizes depending on what you want. If you want smaller ones that are more of a bite size, you can do that, or you can make a gigantic one. Please, if you make a gigantic one, tag us, we would love to see it. I finished rolling all of the truffles. We're going to go ahead and pop these in the freezer for 20 to 30 minutes until they get nice and solid, so that when we roll them in the chocolate, they won't leave crumbs behind. So I've got some truffles that I put in the freezer earlier, and so now we're going to decorate them. I'm going to put on my gloves because this can get a little messy too. And for decorating, I am using chocolate melts, but you can use chocolate chips or almond bark, anything that will melt pretty evenly for you. And anything that will give you a shiny coat. I also have coconut, sprinkles, cocoa powder, and dried fruit. I'm using cranberries because of the holidays, but you can use any dried fruit that you want for decorating. So I'm just going to take one of my truffles and I'm going to drop it in the chocolate. And you can take one of your forks and just kind of roll it around a little bit until it's all coated in the chocolate, and then pull it out carefully and set it back on your wax paper. I'm going to decorate this one with some sprinkles. You can also drizzle with the other chocolate, so I'm going to drizzle this one with some white chocolate. You can use a spoon like I'm doing with this one, or you can take a Ziploc bag and cut a tiny hole in the corner and use it like a piping bag and drizzle it that way. That would also work. All right, I'm going to do a few more truffles and show you some other decoration methods. I'm going to use the white chocolate for this one. Roll it around a little bit. I think we'll do coconut with white chocolate because I think that's a really good flavor combination. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. Kelsey agrees with me. A little bit of our coconut. I'm using sweetened coconut, which is what I recommend you use when you're doing this because it's already got the sugar in it and it'll taste a lot better with the chocolate. And then I'm going to do one more that I'm going to roll in cocoa powder and add the cranberries too. I think that'll be a really good combination as well. So let's just roll it in the chocolate here. And when you're using cocoa powder, you want to let it get a little matte before you roll it in the cocoa powder. Otherwise, it'll get really sticky and the cocoa powder will get really gummed up on it. So you're going to want to wait a couple minutes before you roll it in the cocoa powder. And we'll let it dry for a moment. Got my truffle that's become matte. And basically that just means it's not really shiny anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. And I'm going to roll it around in the cocoa powder a little bit. You can use just your hands for this. You don't have to use a special fork. And this is a real traditional truffle decoration with the cocoa powder. And I'm just gonna brush off the rest of the cocoa powder from my glove. And I'm gonna add just a little drop of chocolate to the top so that my cranberries will stick. Just a little drop of chocolate right on top. Take a couple cranberries for decoration, just right on the top. All right, guys, that's how you make these super simple Oreo truffles. These truffles were inspired by a recipe that I got off Creative Bug, which is a free e-source that you can use with your library card, free from the Kansas City Public Library. This recipe, however, I got off another site, and we actually have the recipe down in the description below. Happy cooking and happy holidays.